welcome to the Trinity Force podcast. Yo, it's that TForce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
And we are live with episode 460 of the Trinity Force podcast. Welcome, everybody, to the show. Thank you so much for listening to us, supporting us, and all of the other good things that you're doing to help the network grow. We've got a great podcast for you this evening, but before we get to that podcast, I'm going to introduce Santana and Dom. Hello, hello, hello.
Howdy.
And now another camera issue as Santana's camera goes all crazy. It's like
this is fine on my end.
It looks fine on my end.
That's going to be, well, hey, the only end that matters is my end because I'm the one that's streaming it. But you know what? It doesn't matter for the MP3 listeners, so who cares? Guys,
we had no issues last week, Adam. Come on.
Actually, you had an issue last week with the live stream where your audio was louder than everybody else's audio on there.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well,
you know, it's the little things.
We can't win. I just take the MP3 audio and upload it if the live stream gets fucked up at all. So, anyway, guys, thank you again. Thank you for listening and thank you for supporting us. If you want to support us, please go to buddhaboxers.com/TForce as you can go check out these awesome boxers that are going to wrap your little. Well, we don't have little bits, but some of us might have little bits. And you know what? It's okay to have little bits. And you know what? They make underwear out there for all of us that will wrap your little bits up and keep them nice and comfortable and cool. Buddha Boxers, using code TrinityForce for 20% off your order. They're made out of not 100%. They're made out of bamboo. They hug. They keep you cool. They keep you comfortable. They're great for gaming because I know a lot of times I sit in a chair all day and it's really uncomfortable to sit here and I needed better underwear. And I found Buddha Boxers and they have supported the podcast. So buddhaboxers.com/TForce. Use code TrinityForce for 20% off your order. Go check out that premium underwear. You don't know what you're missing until you put some on. So now we can talk about League of Legends because I did my ad read for the day.
Woo!
Woo. That's right. For those also one other just quick note, we're still on baby watch. I know you guys said last week we were 100% absolutely we went to the hospital, there was contractions, everything, and then the baby decided not to come. So we are still on baby watch 2017. The very likely answer is I won't be here at all next week because of baby, but we will find out and see. But thank you guys for your support. I've gotten a lot of great messages from everybody out there, and these guys are going to keep the podcast rolling with or without me. As we move into potential end of season / walking into the preseason, I wanted to give you guys a better way to start getting better at League of Legends. So I'm going to start bringing up a weekly challenge. Every single week, both podcasts of the week, I'm going to bring up this weekly challenge for you guys to do and try to get better at the game because a lot of times you'll ask how to do this, how to do that. Well, working on one thing every single week has the potential to make you better at this game. And so we're going to start out with this week's weekly challenge, being that I want you guys to buy and use a health potion the moment a trade starts. So buy a health potion, then use that health potion the moment the trade starts. If you can, keep track of your life total after they engage if it's below 100. And then tally those all up at the end and see. And now we can see if that health potion actually helped you throughout that trade. I had a couple games yesterday where I bought health potion after health potion. I was walking out of trades. I walked out of one trade with 15 life because I had health potion ticking. So it's a really good habit to get into. So this week's weekly challenge is to buy a health potion and use it while you're in trade. Try to do that every single time. Have a health potion in your inventory and use it the moment the trade starts.
You'll quickly get really frustrated when your health potion doesn't go off for whatever reason. Like you're briefly crowd controlled when you input the command and then you start going to do stuff. And then you're like, wait, I have 3 potions. What the fuck happened?
Right. Or you go for a trade with corrupting potion and you just never use it.
Yeah.
Guilty.
You're guilty of buying
I do that all the time. Oh yeah, I forget I have corrupting potion 90% of the time.
Oh yeah.
It's so good too. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Now is kind of if you're thinking about switching roles or unsure what you want to be doing, like you have August to get that figured out. because usually it's around the very end of October or the start of November when Riot ends the ranked season. And so if you get your shit figured out, before the end of August, but if nothing else, by the end of August, that gives you like 2 months to grind your way up. And yeah, you're going to have to put in a lot of work during that time if you had a specific goal, but you decided to switch late. But you don't want to change roles or do anything else weird like after August ends. It's pretty much time to stay the course and just push for your goal.
And ideally, you would want to get to your goal before the last week or two of ranked, because those last 2 weeks
they're brutal.
They're a fiesta and a half. They're fun to watch if you're just playing for fun, but if you're actually trying, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my experience last year.
I got probably about a solid 50 games to span between now and then if I want to keep diamond again this season. I just haven't played any ranked, really. I think I've played over 100 flex queue games. I played way more flex queue than I've played solo queue this season.
You've really played that much flex queue?
Yeah, I have over 100 games. I have the badge. The played over 100 games in this division badge.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Yeah, I've played 2 solo queue games in the past month, maybe.
I've been playing a lot, and I've been having a ton of fun playing. So that's not really I'm just surprised you've been playing that much flex queue.
Well, because that's all we play after the podcast and stuff is we jump. Flex
Yeah, and
queue
I'm there for that. I just didn't realize he was never playing solo duo. I mean, I'm pretty.
When I log on, I want to play with somebody. Right? I'm at the point where I log on, I'm trying to find someone to play with, and we're jumping into flex and getting 4 or 5 games in, and then calling it a day. So I've got a lot of flex queue games, and I don't mind it. I just hope I can hit platinum in flex queue by the end of the season, because I keep getting hit gold and dropping down to gold too.
Yeah, I keep losing my plat promos when I play with you, Adam, when we were playing flex queue. So,
well,
you know how it goes.
I'm on a hot streak finally. Thank God. I think I have flex queue figured out. It's called Spam Karthus.
I don't think he's great.
No, he's phenomenal.
I think he's great. I think he's a solo
agree with
queue.
the win rate percentage. I don't think he's a good champion.
I think he's a solo queue stomper.
I feel like you should just play Orianna if you just want to climb.
No, because I'd have to put. You know how much time I'd have to put into learning Orianna to climb with her?
Doesn't lose any lane.
Right.
Ever.
Right, she's being banned in high elo solo queue because she has no counters in lane when you're really, really, really good with her. And I just don't have that time, that month and 50-something games to put in to get really, really good.
Why aren't you playing Jhin?
Because I've been having
Jin's getting
fun.
banned.
Well, Jin's getting banned. I've been having fun out of mid lane recently. I don't know. I didn't feel like if I queue up with Whale and Sean, right, who I've queued up with quite a bit, or even anybody, but if I queue up with just about anybody but Dom, usually I'm queuing up for mid or top, and I've been getting mid a lot, so I started playing a lot more Karthus, and my win rates don't lie. That champion is fucking broken. The only problem that I have with playing Karthus,
He's not broken.
He's broken.
He's a double-maned item champion that still needs to scale into mid to late game.
He's a single mana item champion. You don't need
did
two.
Did stop building tier on him?
Yeah, you build Rod. That's all.
Roa.
I get why you don't like him for high MMR and all of that applies, but below, I mean, I'm willing to argue even below mid plat, you can get away Karthus lets you get away with so many mistakes, I guess, for lack of a better. Lack of anything else. You can just do so much on that champion, and there's so much forgiveness that happens just because you die and you get to keep contributing to the fight, and that's so incredibly valuable in a game where you're normally trying to get rid of one person from the map, so you open up some type of power play for your team.
I think
I'm just looking at Karthus, and he's not. In my opinion, he's not great into the meta we have right now, where it's hey, it's a bunch of tanks. And if Karthus is just in the front line, he's okay, cool. The tanks walk past him. And that's it. He's got wall, but
you don't.
That's not
I
what I'm
think
looking for out of mid.
I think you're overestimating the underestimating the amount of damage he can do to tanks with Defile available. A lot of times people, when for the games that I play with Karthus, a lot of people ignore Karthus in team fights, right? Because they're like, oh, all right, he has to land Qs. It's really hard for him to track Qs when his team fight. But Defile ends up stacking up in that damage. And as long as everybody's fighting on top of Karthus and he has the mana to support it, he's doing quite a bit of damage. I mean, every game that I've walked out of a 20,000 more damage than anybody else in the team, just because people stand on my Defile and I'm hitting them with ults and whatnot. The only problem that with Karthus, and I think it might be the bigger problem we have with him, and I'm projecting a little bit here, is you have to be very, very, very mindful of your positioning, and you have to always be on high alert with him because hitting Qs is very hard, especially in. I played against a Diamond 1 Cassiopeia the other day, and it was hard to track where she was going to walk with Storm Raiders to be able to land Qs on her in the middle of a trade, for example, because she was just so fast. Granted, I ended up walking out of that lane, winning that lane, but it tested my ability on Karthus to land Qs, and that's something that I think is over. It's really easy to walk in there, press E, and go, I'm doing a ton of damage, but if you're not actually landing those Qs and getting them at the right spots in the team fights, you're not doing any of that damage. And I think that I think that might be part of where you're coming from here when you say that Karthus is not that good.
Yeah, I'm just like looking at the rest of the roster for mid, and I'm like, all right, Malzahar, point and click CC, great. Aurelion Sol, just
incredibly difficult champion to learn. Incredibly difficult champion.
I actually don't think he's that hard to play. I really don't. I think
he's really difficult. Like you have to already have a pretty solid understanding of what you're supposed to do in mid lane
the difference
to
is
pick
it
him
takes
up.
5 games to learn that because he plays the same in every lane. Because it's just buy corrupting potion, shove for level 2, go back, buy boots, and then like ring, go back, buy swifties, roam, and shove the lane when you come back. Whereas I'm looking at other things like, okay, Malzahar is really good. I think I like Malzahar a lot.
That's fine.
Annie's always going to be good. I'm surprised Azerath's as high as he is right now.
Didn't
But
he just
again,
get a
I
change though last
understand
patch?
why.
He got a
Yeah.
slight buff.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm not when I'm bringing up Karthus here because we're just having we're just having a conversation. Like I'm enjoying that Malzahar. I found like the normal build for normal build order for Malzahar or skill order is E than Q, and I found more success with E than W to be able to hard push waves than roam because I was only using Q for the silence. But when I changed up that to be that order of skilling, I found that I had more success with Karthus than I did previously. Or excuse me, I meant
Malzahar, right? Yeah.
Malzahar. No.
I guess I'm seeing E than W, so
I think the most popular is E and Q. And then like the winningest is E and W.
Champion.gg showing E than W, but that doesn't mean that's, who knows what they're scrubbing. So
Sure. But
Yeah.
that's just so that to go off the point. If you're playing something you want to pick it up, definitely go pick up whatever character you want to play now and learn it now and
Start
spam
learning.
25 games now because you don't have time. You have 30 days to learn a champion essentially, and then you have to spam the hell out of that champion to get the rank you want. And if you think you have time to make it to gold 5, for a lot of you out there, you need to start playing tomorrow or the day after you listen to this podcast
or whenever you're listening to this.
Yeah, because you don't have as much time as you think you have.
And ideally you're sitting down and you're getting in like 3 or 4 games a night, and you're doing that like 4 times a week. And I know that sounds like a really, really big commitment and everything, but that's kind of what it takes when you're getting into that grind. Like you can't like if you have just a really limited window of time, I think your goal really needs to be like just see how high I can climb. If you're really pushing for a specific rank or division or that type of thing, and you haven't hit it yet at this point, it's really one of those situations like, okay, I gotta, like, this has to be a little bit higher priority, and it's plan to do a few 3 games and do that 4 times a week, because that will you won't have any of that like multi-day skill decay. And I don't know if the two of you or anybody else on the show runs into it, but I feel like if I go 3 days, then I feel like I have to spend 1 game relearning how to do everything. Not that egregious, but
Depends on who I'm playing. Usually I can pick it up. Like I switch setups essentially. Like I have a new mouse, I'm getting a new keyboard, I've got a different monitor. So like that was a nightmare in itself. But
switching profiles is terrible.
Yeah. And if you look at it, like if you look at like the average MMR, you're gonna get what, 20 a win maybe, 19 a win, something like that. So it's gonna take 5 wins. Yeah, it's gonna take 5 wins just to get to your promos, and then you got to win 2 out of 3 of those. So that's 7 straight wins. If you're just winning everything, most people aren't. So if you go, I don't know, 55%, it's gonna take a lot of games just to climb divisions.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about Urgot, because he's finally on the Rift. We get to play the new Urgot. We've talked about him, I think, probably the last 3 or 4 podcasts overall. But early data and seeing him and playing against him just suggests that he's not doing that well, and that he potentially has some problems.
We played against.
I've only seen him once. It was that game I played with you guys.
Yeah, and it seemed like he was doing a lot, even though the rest of his team wasn't doing very hot.
See, I didn't feel like he was doing anything. I completely forgot he was in that game.
Well, I was playing a Twitch in side lanes, and I was just dying all the time. But that's just kind of how that goes. Yeah, I've watched some people play him on stream. I've seen Dyrus play him a lot, and it's this weird mix of either he was just like inting really hard, or all of a sudden he has like 13 kills and everything dies. So I don't know. Maybe it's gonna be one of those. Oh God, why am I blanking on this super hard? Kane situations where Kane comes out of the gates real bad, it seems, and he's all of a sudden he's getting play everywhere.
It does seem like he has a really high learning curve, because there are not a lot of champions that are doing. Like, he's got parts of a bunch of champions in his kit, I guess, but there are not a lot of champions who are doing what he's doing and sort of the way he's doing it, and that's just going to take positioning is unreasonably important for Urgot, and that is not the case for most bruisers in the game. Like, bruisers tend to have pretty forgiving positioning when it comes down to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're melee
and Urgot
next to people.
Urgot being off, one Teemo is the difference between getting a bunch of damage and getting, basically none.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if part of his problem with his win rate, one is that he's hard to play, because like Tom said, you have to pretty much walk in a circle when you have somebody, when you're doing some damage to somebody to get all those knee procs off. But the second piece would be that itemization doesn't necessarily favor him. He has a lot of items he can buy, but like he needs to build offensive bruiser, kind of like a Renekton, right? You're not building teammate, but you can build Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver is really good on him because W gets all the Black Cleaver procs off as it's with its interaction. But then you might want to build into like Dead Man's Plate or something, and you can't really use Dead Man's Plate on him being ranged and all. So you need some other kind of defensive item. And you might build Sterix, which works well. But then what do you build into after that? It's either raw offensive stats or raw defensive stats. There's not too many items. I guess like Frozen Mallet or
I was thinking Frozen Mallet might not be bad on it.
Death Dance, yeah. I was curious if Frozen Mallet.
Most people seem to be getting Frozen Mallet.
Right. But it's just
I don't know.
He just gets flat health. He gets flat health with no defensive stats. I think he gets the shield. That's it. The small shield in his kit, and that's all he's got.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of Frozen Fist, Sterix.
And I just I'm not even. I didn't really feel like Iceborne Gauntlet would actually be that good for him.
No. Because old Urgot's niche was like this weird kind of counter pick into assassins, or just like these really heavy AD comps, because he could stack armor off a tier and just get the damage to cleaver.
Damage.
Yeah.
I mean, and he was reducing damage and armor and everything, so it was sort of like he was this weird bundle of stat reduction, and
who had a fairly safe lane, and now I don't know what his niche is anymore. Like, yeah, he's kind of this weird bruiser that does a lot of damage, maybe, and he's got kind of a Volibear engage flip, I guess, and he can execute people, but I don't feel like he fits into a necessary, like, oh, this would be a great time to pick Urgot, like a lot of our champions fall into.
I don't usually run into this. Like, most times a champion comes out and I go into a custom game and I play him and I think, okay, this is the type of item I'm building. This is what I want to get, this, that, and the other thing. And I played Urgot and I was honestly just like, I have no idea what I should really be getting on this champion. I just don't have. I did not get a sense for what Riot was really intending him to do based on the kit. And a lot of that stuff ends up evolving into something else. Zyro is intended to be a mid laner, and Vel'Koz has settled into support, a whole bunch of stuff like that. But you can always get the intent behind the champion when you go into the game. And with Urgot, I was like, am I supposed to be a big damage dealer? Am I supposed to be just like a frontliner? What is going on with this champion? And it's like, it's almost like he is as confused right now as he was before the rework.
Right.
He is a lot cooler now, even if even if the old rework or the pre-rework one was doing a lot of really powerful stuff. He's definitely a lot cooler now. I just I don't have a sense. I'm really gonna have to wait until somebody actually figures him out.
Because I look at the kit and I almost feel like you play as this really weird frontline tank, execute whoever's close, and try and get a fear. And then just kind of use that as like a semi-peel for your backline. And because he's got the dash and he's got the circle damage to get everybody in the team, and then just kind of execute whoever's low. But that just doesn't feel good with the rest of his abilities.
Yeah, you're a frontliner who doesn't want to play like a frontliner. Like that's kind of frustrating. Or like what is he, a frontliner who has to play like an assassin or something?
But he doesn't get
that's tricky.
He doesn't get the assassin damage. He only gets the execute, and then he can't really build the assassin items anyway. So I don't think he's super good, but we'll see.
He might.
Maybe we just need more time.
He might just turn into one of those hardcore split pushers that can duel anybody that comes at him because of shotgun knees and whatnot, and the execute. Because his W does work on turrets to be able to push them down really quickly.
True.
And he has good 1v1 or dueling potential. So perhaps it's one of those...
I mean, it depends. I feel like he's got a pretty clear mobility check. You know, there's just a level of mobility that if your opponent has that in their kit, they're going to beat you every time because you can't shoot them. Like they can just get to where you're not going to take, they're not going to take any damage, and then you're stuck because you're this hulking, grinder.
I mean, sort of, because his W locks on. As long as you can land that Q, your W locks on to them, and then you're doing free damage.
Right, but that's a tricky thing against a mobile champion.
Yeah, like that's
what I'm saying, just like a straight up mobility check.
Yeah, like trying to put him in a side lane against Fiora, for example.
Yeah, that was the first person I thought of.
But I guess he'd be okay into something like Shen. I guess. Because he probably, but then he doesn't even get to build Titanic, so like Shen probably outpushes him unless he wants to use all his like W or passive procs on the wave.
And that does go back to what you said at the beginning, Adam. Is like itemization is just not really working for him. All the good bruiser items have these weird melee only components to them, and it doesn't feel like his damage in his kit is high enough to make up for his inability to access some of those really good bruiser items.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see. Time will tell. But time will tell with him. I think we need to play him. I need to actually sit down and play the champion. I've been, like I said, I've been spamming a lot of mid games, so I've been having. I should have played him mid. Is what I should have done. Just get a feel for him.
So let us know what you guys think about Urgot, because fuck if we know.
Right.
I've honestly only seen him in the one game, and that wasn't for lack of playing over the weekend or anything. It was just one of those. I think everybody tried him right when he came out and said, "This guy's not for me," and that was the end of it. And maybe it's one of those, like, we're waiting until he shows up in pro play or somebody famous picks him up, on stream and just dedicates, and really figures out the champion and shows the world how to do it. But until that happens, I think, like, we're stuck in a holding pattern because I'm not going to take him bot lane. Forget it. And if I'm not seeing him in games, I don't have anything to talk about.
Oh, I'm taking a bot lane. He's the next Graves.
Do it.
Yeah. No, he'd be fucking terrible. He just pushed the wave all day and then not be able to trade. Well, let's talk about Nasus. He got a change in this last patch, and I know a lot of people probably thought that he wasn't going to be that great, but he's been turning up a lot more. He's not necessarily doing that much better or that much worse. I mean, he's been definitely showing up a lot more. I've seen more Nasus in the games that I played this weekend than in any previous. And so I wanted to talk about how to deal with Nasus, specifically for the people that are listening to this show that might see him a lot in low elo, because a lot of people will run into the issue where they'll shut Nasus down early, but he'll come back, have a ton of Q stacks, and they'll try to fight him and die. And they'll go, what the fuck? I thought Nasus was 2 and 11. Well, he was still able to pick up Q stacks along the way. And there are I wouldn't say little tricks so much as they're just pieces that you need to know how Nasus plays, and that's what we're going to talk about now. I guess I'll just lead us right into it as I keep talking. Probably the biggest one that I see a lot of people play against Nasus is they don't respect his ultimate now, or they don't realize that his ultimate gives him half cooldown on Qs, and so kiting / CCing Nasus as much as you can is probably the number one way to counter him. So as soon as he pops his ultimate, you're disengaging and you're running away from the fight, and you're re-engaging when the ultimate is down. Otherwise, your team has been shredded to death. But yeah, kite CCM, disengage when the ultimate's popped, build armor and magic penetration items, build an executioner's calling is a really, really good way to stop Nasus from doing everything that Nasus does in team fights. And yeah, good one here is ADCs build QSS for the Wither. I think because that's what gets a lot of people.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think you should be like, oh man, all right, I'm against Nasus. We're getting second item QSS like you're playing against Mouse.
No, you're not getting second item.
It's like, yeah, you're going to get Mercurial like fourth or fifth item normally anyway. But I don't think it's like the end all against him. Because
I think you read how the game has been going. If he's turning into a threat, you bump up the priority on picking up that QSS. And otherwise, it's like just keep an eye on Nasus, and once he starts to get out of hand, that's your time to say like, okay, I need the get out of jail card.
Also depends on what kind of front line you got in front of you. If they can, keep him away from you. If you're kind of on your own, then yeah, go for it. QSS is one of the best, solo items.
And maybe the bigger point is that you kind of can beat Nasus in champion select. Like, the guy doesn't deal with crowd control of any type very well at all. And so kind of loading up on some of that. And the good news is, there are plenty of supports with a lot of crowd control in their kit. So that's, a good way of getting Nasus, dealing with Nasus. You just got to peel for your AD carry or whoever the other fed champion on your team is.
Yeah, I also look at this and I look outside of ADC and just Mercurial, or not Mercurial, Merc treads in general are pretty good against Nasus. Swifties aren't bad either, depending. I like Mercs better. Just for the Wither, because a lot of, if you look at what Nasus skills now and masteries, he goes Storm Raiders, so he's going to get the extra movement speed. So you want to be able to have movement speed to match that, or at least move back a little bit more. And he builds TForce a lot too, which has the Zeal movement speed as well.
Yeah, this big thing. And Righteous Glory,
which he can build. You can build first now because
figuring out how to get to you.
Because get built out a Glacial Shroud, and what does Nasus love first back? CDR. It's great. God, this is just like the worst time to buff him when we had all these items. And
yeah, so if Nasus does have the Righteous Glory, body blocking the Nasus as he comes in, if you are a support or a tank or whatever, body blocking him so he can't make it to the back line is a good way to stop that. Get out of the E. When that E hits the ground, you need to kite around it if you're dueling into Nasus. And try to bait out the Wither if you're in lane. Like, if you're going to try to 1v1 Nasus and he's level 6, trying to bait out that Wither before the fight happens and then going all in on him is how to fight him. You just have to play around his abilities and play around his kit because he is still super kiteable. You just have to be mindful of the items he has and the cooldowns that he has available. Because if you don't respect Ghost, Ultimate, Righteous Glory, whatever it is, you will get popped. And it'll be, lights out. Boom,
he does perform like way better the lower your MMR gets and everything. So like as easy as it is to sit and think of like this guy has a lot of counters and everything, it's really not that hard to deal with him. Why is the Trinity Force podcast wasting their time on it? It's because he actually he's doing really well in bronze, silver, and gold. So it's a very different story once you get to plat.
Because it makes sense, right? Because those games tend to have trouble closing out, so game length gets extended, which in turn means Nasus has more time to get Q stacks and farm and hit his item break points and things like that. Whereas if you're in the higher MMRs, Plat, Diamond, etc., you get a lead on Nasus, and generally you can push your lead and close the game quickly.
All right, Simpsons. Thanks for everything that just came through the microphone.
Hope you're enjoying it.
I hope you're all enjoying this episode of The Simpsons. I don't know what episode it is, but Dom's fiance seems to quite enjoy it.
My mic.
Take your shoe off.
Kicked up the volume.
Throw it at the TV.
It's all good.
Tell her to go sit down in the corner, and then get smacked later for it.
I'm not gonna do that. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna do that.
We can all say it. Hey, we're men here. We can talk like this now until the women come home.
That's horribly. That's horrible. It's not even horrible. It's just horrible. Like, no.
End discussion.
All right. I want to talk about movement speed because I am sick of people calling Cloud Drake the shitty ass Drake. I mean, I more than less agree, but I really don't think Cloud Drake is that bad.
It is the worst solo queue Drake.
It's probably one of the better
I know
solo
you love
queue
Cloud
Drakes.
Drake, and it's ever bountiful movement, out of combat movement speed. See, there's the difference, right? We can talk about movement speed as a whole, and movement speed is very good. I think out of combat movement speed is not to be prized on a Drake.
I think out of combat movement speed is completely underestimated and underutilized because people don't realize how quickly they can move around the map. I would rather have the other Drakes, but I'm not mad when I get a Cloud Drake anymore because I'm able to get to objectives more quickly. Like how many times do you play this game where you need to get to that dragon because they got there, and having that extra bit of move speed would have gotten you there. I know that the what was you guys saying earlier? The casters like to spew bullshit about how it saves you a quarter of a second when you make it somewhere. But in a fucking game where a quarter of a second matters, Cloud Drake is a really good Drake to have. Now, I wouldn't dive my ass in there and try to steal it.
I really don't get.
What?
Junglers, especially in the early game, but junglers by and large run around the entirety of the map more than any other champion, and then supports and then mid laners. So an early Cloud Drake tends to lose a lot of, early emphasis. People just totally ignore it going on. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I'm the jungler. I totally want to take that. But junglers, especially in the early game, junglers are the ones who get to dictate whether or not you're taking dragon. Like, it's really, really, really difficult to sneak a dragon, within the first 10 minutes, even the first 15, like, without having the jungler there, there with you. If a Cloud Drake spawns and I'm the jungler, I'm like, yeah, I want that fucking thing because I'm the one who's got to run from camp to camp. I'm running from lane to lane and everything. And this is going to be like, I don't have to spend money. I have to spend a little bit of time, but I'm probably going to have teammates helping me do that. And this is going to help me do all of that stuff that I want to do better.
I think this is a topic for another day when we're talking jungler and jungler pathing. Because, again, everything you do in the jungle is risk reward, right? All right, so we secure this Cloud Drake. Now that means I'm giving up the entire other side of my map and possibly 2 to 3 camps. Is me getting this Cloud Drake worth me being down a level to the other jungler or giving up pressure on the other side of the map? That's what I'm looking at. And most of the times I will say no.
But
because I want my lanes to get ahead rather than trying to sacrifice either my jungle or my top mid lane for a Drake. Or for specifically Cloud Drake.
You're looking at it in the vacuum of, like, I'm choosing to go and solo dragon by myself and let the enemy jungler go do their thing and everything, versus a situation where, like, you just picked up kills mid or you drove them back bot and that type of thing.
Sure, that's a different situation.
And that's
that type of situation is a lot more common than this. I'm gonna go sneak it by myself. But again, you'll drive them back, and your team, like the jungler, will just be like, okay, I'm going back into my woods. Like, we're not gonna do this Drake for the team.
But
and I'm just like, why wouldn't you want to do that?
Or is it better just to go and take their camp so their jungler's behind?
I don't know. I'm of the mind that getting my team ahead and getting something for my team that's going to be helpful is better than setting one person on the other team behind.
And I think this is where we differ as solo queue players. I'm a very selfish solo queue player, and if I can get myself ahead, I have the confidence that I can push the game ahead. And I don't think Cloud Drake does that for me.
I've had way too many games fall apart because of people who thought, like, I'm just going to do my thing and do whatever it takes for me to get where I want to be and ignore all the stuff that's going to help the rest of the team. Because the reality is that it's 5v5. It's not 1v5.
Oh, no, I agree.
See, I understand.
Or 1v1 for that matter.
I understand that level of thinking. Excuse me. In a pro game, for example, it's not worth your time to take Cloud Drake at that point because the other Drakes would be more beneficial and you could do more. But isn't it beneficial in a solo queue game where if it's fairly even and you're trying to find any kind of edge that you get, taking one camp from a jungler and then backing after a skirmish isn't going to set the enemy jungler behind, but taking that dragon, having that timer, and then setting up for the next dragon, that could potentially be something other than Cloud Drake. Could be an Infernal, could be a Mountain, whatever it is. And having those stack up and accumulate over the course of the game be more powerful than taking that one Raptor camp that you had early. I think just getting that Cloud Drake out of the way, at least, Having those extra stats and allowing yourself the opportunity to set up for future drakes is more powerful than taking one camp from the enemy jungler. Because that's really all you're getting if we're talking the situation where we have killed bottom lane and while we take dragon. You're getting one camp.
But you're also having an opportunity to put vision down too, and it's more than one camp. I'm narrowing in on the camp because it's obvious. It's a very easy thing to talk about. Like, there's a camp, I can take it, I get the gold from it, etc. But you're also setting up, like, now I have a timer on that camp if I want to go contest it again. I have deep vision in their jungle, so I can track their jungler. If I take Cloud Drake, normally what ends up happening is I take Drake, and then everybody's like, oh, I got a base now, I got to spend this gold.
Right, and as they should, right? You go back, and then you go back to normal laning formations, and you do what you got to do. Deep vision is fine. I love deep vision. I want to walk in there and get as much as I possibly can, and there's definitely no argument to be made against or for that's going to change anyone's mind. I just like the idea of being able to get to my places faster and be able to walk around and use my movement speed to affect the game. Just in general, I love movement speed. I love Cloud Drake. I want to see it being taken more often, and I just don't think there's ever going to be enough value put on it, and there's never going to be a way to convince everybody that Cloud Drake is actually a really, really good Drake.
Cloud Drake's what, 1.5% out of combat? Or is it more than that?
No, it's a flat amount. It's
yeah,
not,
is it what,
it's a flat
2,
amount.
4, something like that? Give me a number. I'm just curious really quick because I have a question. Should have looked this up beforehand, but I didn't know we were going to be arguing about Cloud Drake for half an hour.
It was in the document, in my defense.
It was. I didn't look after we edited it. My bad. I'm assuming it's like 2.
It gives plus 25, plus 50, plus 75 with 1, 2, or 3. No,
okay.
It's not a percentage. It's a flat.
Okay. Question. How often do you take Wanderer in the Cunning Tree, which is 3% out of combat?
All the time.
If you're
I understand you for support.
Yeah, no, like, but that's just what I'm saying. Is like that is like I want all the movement speed that I can get and everything. Sure. I fucking love this Drake.
But as a mid laner or top laner or jungler, how often are you taking that?
Well, sure, you're not taking junglers can take it. I'm sure more junglers take it more often than
junglers can maybe get away with it. But like, it's if we're loving this out of combat movement speed, why aren't we just taking Wanderer all the time then? Do you really need the 5 extra damage in lane the last hit?
Because some people do. I mean, but that's because the difference is that this is something you really have to good and pay for the entirety of the game. You have to pay for it by not taking the camp, and we're assuming that the camps are there and available to be taken, which is a entirely different part of the equation and everything. But that is a really minimal price to pay relative to what you're giving up out of the cutting tree for laners.
But that's what I'm saying.
I take that. Cunning's my go-to. So.
Yeah, I feel like we'd be pushing more Wanderer if we really felt like this is. Because I don't think you need the extra damage to last hit if you're competent enough in lane and like are comfortable with your champion. But we do it anyway because it's just like, oh well, that's out of combat movement speed. It's whatever.
Because the masteries are made for the masteries besides Wanderer, of course, with being 3%. Where was I going with this? Like. If I'm building masteries, I'm building masteries so I can play against my opponent, I can play against the team, and
sure.
The Cloud Drake in that is just icing on the cake for everything else that I have. I want to be able to survive my laning phase by doing that extra 5 damage. I want to be able to take down minions and monsters more quickly. I want to be able to put out a little bit more damage out there to afford to take the dragons. If that 5 extra damage helps you push my lane 2 auto attacks more quickly, I'm potentially at dragon more quickly, right? There's an argument made there. There's the argument to be made that you're pushing down the waves down quicker later with that 5 extra damage. Now that's probably not likely, but I mean, we're really arguing just kind of like small semantics there between a couple of masteries and Cloud Drake, when really the bigger argument is why are we leaving a Drake there when we have an opportunity to take it? I think that's really what this boils down to. If there's an opportunity to take dragon, why are we leaving that dragon up when we get that dragon free of charge? And we have now set the time.
I'm fine with it, but I'm never like.
But most people aren't.
That's the thing.
You say that, but you're not. That Cloud Drake has been there, and we are ready to take it. We'll be like, let's take this, and I'm not calling you out, but I'm just going to use you as an example here.
That's fine. I am anti-Cloud Drake.
You'll
I'm
go,
100%
no,
anti-Cloud
fuck
Drake.
that. I'm going in my jungle. I'm going to my jungle. I'm
pro
getting this
Cloud
Wraith camp, or I'm backing because I want to pick up my Infinity Edge right now. Fuck your Cloud Drake. It's worthless when it's fucking free. Like, just take the goddamn Drake. This goes for any Drake out there. If the Drake is there and you're able to take it, take it. And you know what's funny about Drake, since I'm going to move this conversation away from Cloud Drakes, we could argue.
That's fine.
Is you remember, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago? We talked about the risk reward of taking that level 4 dragon. Does anyone remember this? Down?
I don't think I was here.
Yeah, I remember.
Quick TLDR, it's hard to take a level 4 dragon. Don't do it all the time, but if you can sneak it, fantastic. Just remember that, like what Santana said, while you're taking that dragon, the enemy jungle now has free reign of the map, and you can take all your camps and shit, right? I've seen so many level 4 dragons taken. I played a solid 12 games this weekend, and at least 30% of those games, I was seeing level 4, level 5 dragons taken solo.
By what?
Kind of
Nunu?
Warwick.
Well, okay. Sure. One of the 2 junglers that can get away with it.
Right. But still, even then, I'm like, I just talked all about this and how people shouldn't be doing it. I'm seeing it. I feel like I'm seeing it all the time. Again, it's only 30% of my games or whatever. Random number off the top of my head. But just feel like it's a lot. It's still happening. All these people are taking these early Drakes, and then it sets the timer. And now, at the bottom lane that I was playing at the time, I had to go, oh shit, I have to get wards and vision down here now. I have to really pay attention to the dragon so they can't sneak it again. And we stopped them from sneaking the second dragon because they tried to. But it's just really interesting to me to see that happen a lot with Warwick. I'm curious if there was a streamer out there or something that was playing Warwick that showed the level 4 thing, and now people are doing it.
It's pretty common because most time Warwick's just gonna, he's so high in sustain and he can start pink ward that he can just pink ward dragon and take it for free most of the time.
And he's been doing that since season 1.
Yeah, I mean, same vein as Nunu. He just kind of gets there and it's like, oh, I guess I can just solo this, and no one looks. We used to see it a lot with Elise for a while, but she doesn't really do it anymore.
Because all 3 of her spiders die.
Yeah.
AoE, yeah. It didn't used to, so.
I fucking hate Mountain Drake because it's not useful until like 25 minutes into the game at best.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, Mountain Drake, second best Drake, and it's like,
no,
well,
I think it's the worst.
I don't think it's the worst, but it's definitely.
Well, we know you don't.
It has a lot better play when you're around an organized team than it does in like.
And just like, but like even if Mountain Drake is the first one to spawn and everything, like you're not really taking those outer turrets really any faster.
No, not really.
You don't have the damage at that stage of the game to support what Mountain Drake could do for you. 25 minutes in, totally different story. It's really doing a lot for you. You're going to take Baron way faster, that type of stuff. But just in the early stage, like Mountain is infuriating to see.
Yeah, I mean, well, it does snowball itself, right? Like you take Mountain Drake, you take the next Drake a little bit easier. If it's double Mountain Drake after that, you take next Drake easier, and then you can take Baron real easy. Yeah, I mean, but I got super sidetracked with Cloud Drake, so back to what we were talking about, movement speed in general.
Yeah, well, and I mean, we're only talking about this because you brought up the thing earlier today.
I did. I brought it up last week. I thought it would be good. I didn't realize it was going to jump him to be like.
I thought it was going to be huge.
Well, I didn't think he was going to jump up to third most picked mid laner or something and have his play rate jump almost like 2%.
I love it because I remember last night taking a shower. I was having a shower thought. I'm like, why is Twisted Fate falling off the map? Where is he?
Oh, because his lane counters are real present in the meta, like Syndra, and it's just not a great because it's really hard to blind pick.
You're not first picking Tia. Yeah, you're not blind picking him, but if you're fourth or last pick or something, it's like okay, I know what I'm getting into.
But that's the thing, right? Is he's fifth most pick now. That means he's getting blind picked a fair amount of the time,
I guess.
And with Zed being your third most, Syndra being your fourth most, Ahri being your second most, those are not good matchups for Twisted Fate at all.
And if you're like me, you're picking the blue card every time.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the movement speed is a flat movement speed that he busts off his quints. It lets him gold card easier. It just helps him roam. It's really useful. Everybody undervalues in combat movement speed because it's not something very tangible you notice unless you have a decent chunk of it. Adam, you probably noticed it the most when you're playing ADC. No.
I'm surprised I don't get more flack for always buying Boots of Swiftness.
I think Swifties.
Part of it.
Do you remember like what was it 5 months ago where Swifties were the only boots you ever bought?
Yeah, and then they nerfed them, and I get that and everything, but it was more just like the in combat movement speed is so important.
So good.
And
if you haven't watched,
I hate giving that up.
You need okay. I'm mumbling here as I'm trying to get my point out because I'm trying to say 17 things at once. If you haven't seen the video that is out there on our Summoner School from Dong Huap, I didn't know if I said his name correctly, but he's talking about Olay, who got rank 1 as support, and why he gets rank 1 as support. It might change your mind now about boots of mobility on a support. If you
I love those too.
If you weren't already spamming it, the TLDR is that he spends like a total of like maybe 4 or 5 minutes in lane, and the rest of the time he's just roaming all around and making plays and never with his ADC. Problem being with that is you have to trust your marksman, and I'm assuming you can trust challenger 200-300 challenger marksman.
There is last year it felt like it was around gold 2 when my AD carries got it. It was like I no longer had to worry about babysitting the AD carry from start to finish and everything, or more importantly, the AD carry was paying attention to what I was doing on the map. I've had a lot of games, and Sean can definitely attest to this, but I've had a lot of games where upon recall, my AD carry goes straight back to lane and then starts a fight, dies, and then asks where I was, and I was up mid getting a kill, and it's just like I was never there. I was never there from the moment. Why were you starting this fight? And he literally just said, I just assumed you were here with me, and it's like, you didn't open your eye. I mean, so that level of competency is something that you don't seem to run into in the lower MMRs and everything, and that's why supports tend to have to babysit a little bit more, because otherwise you're getting a kill somewhere else, but you're still following behind in the duo lane, like the marksman's falling behind.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak much to it because I don't play bot lane anymore. I haven't in a couple seasons. But I just feel like every time I queue top or I look bot, it's just like, oh, ADC went in 1v2. Oh, they're dead. All right, well, that happened.
Yeah, I mean, it just...
I'm level 6. I'm powerful. Will you just leave me alone and let me 2v1 these people? Get off my back, all right? Just like I say all the time. If I die level 1, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go back and kill him. And I come back and kill him.
And then you come back and...
No, you don't.
And instantly...
You never do that.
Bullshit. I did it last week. I don't even want to hear it. The last Tristana game we played, I died level 1 when I said that, and then we came back and killed them. And then I ended up coming out and...
We came back and won.
We came back and killed them.
The support sees it differently.
You did not come back and just, hey, you're down all this experience and probably a level...
I didn't say I killed them right away. Definitely came back and
You're
killed
implying that, though. The way you're phrasing everything very much implies that you're just coming back and then we're killing them. I mean, because somehow you dying turns into reward for us.
It does, because it hones everything in, and it just...
It lulls them into a false sense of security.
Right, and then they get Zach
because they think you're bad.
They're like, oh, shit. Right, yeah, it's mind games. I die early because I just want them to think that I'm really fucking terrible. And then
you die early because you never heal in time.
It's because I don't flash in time, or I save flash for
You don't flash or heal. Like, you never use your summoners in time. That's why you die early.
Please.
And then you say, oh, I should have healed earlier. And then the rest of the game, you're fine. But like the first fight, you're late every single time.
This is what I have to hear in game all the time, folks. This back and forth bot lane.
This is why I'm moving away from Dob. I'm going mid. Fuck you, Dob.
This is why mommy and daddy got a divorce.
Well, I want Dob to talk about Stoneborn Pact, because I had no idea any of this shit worked this way until he brought it up.
Oh, so Stoneborn Pact is fun if you buy an Ardent. It's fun. I like it in general, but it's really fun to buy an Ardent Sensor with on some champions. You might not think about getting it. Like Nunu is the easiest example, because Nunu can basically perma-slow a target. That means that target is going to permanently have the Stoneborn Pact heal coming in for whoever decides to auto attack. Because that auto attack is going to heal you from and Stoneborn Pact is considered a source of your healing. Your Ardent Sensor will you'll get the Ardent Sensor steroid basically, and so now all of a sudden you're going to be getting Stoneborn Pact healing, and Ardent Sensor healing, and Ardent Sensor attack speed steroid, which is better for you, and the bonus on hit damage and everything, and like it's just this really weird compounding factor that is surprisingly fun and easy to do. Trundle's another champion who you could actually get that on if you really wanted to. Again, you're making a pretty conscious decision to not have a tank item that could be better for you, but you know, I mean, Ardent Sensor's powerful, so.
There you go. Fun little interaction with that. I had no idea it worked that way until Dom.
Yeah.
I've never seen it happen, but there is that.
Dom always finds these little neat mastery support things.
Let's talk about the last
I'm the only
topic
one who
that I had here.
cares.
I'm actually really upset that we went through all these topics because I put a ton in here and now we've gone through them all. But hey, there's listening.
They were all like one-line topics.
I was just trying to come up with shit, and I was really hoping you guys
It was
talk about
good. No, we got a show out of it. So
Yeah,
what do you?
we got
why are you
Cloud
complaining?
Drake discussion, my favorite.
But the last point that I wanted to bring up was about cooldown reduction, because I think for a long time, especially in this podcast, we told you guys never to go over the cap of cooldown reduction, but the game has evolved such since then that going over the cap of cooldown reduction, if it's beneficial to your champion, isn't that big of a deal. The good way to look at it is that 10% CDR is worth roughly 250 gold. Depending on the champion you're playing or the type of champion you're playing. I know that casters have said that Kindle Gem is the end-all be-all for the cooldown reduction to gold conversion, but different champions want different types of items. Like Caulfield's Warhammer has a different conversion, but it roughly works out to be about 250 gold for 10% CDR. When you round it all out and about. So if you look at it that way, 10% over cap, you're losing 250 gold essentially. Isn't that big a deal? 20% is iffy, and anything over that, you're just pushing you're wasting 750,000 gold. But if you keep that, if you look at stats that way in the game, where you wonder, am I buying too much of this? Think of every stat as a gold value, and you can go look up the gold value of the stat, and that'll help you have a better appreciation for the type of stats you should be buying and why. Because then you can put it to some kind of tangible item in the game, or to currency.
I honestly think there's too much CDR. In
I
the
agree.
game.
Oh yeah,
It's so easy to come by to the point where, yeah, like you said, I mean, it can be really difficult to come up with builds that don't include too much CDR. And I'm to a point, yeah, where just like you said, I don't even worry about it anymore. I don't care if I'm CDR capped. If the item that I'm looking at next has it on there, it's like, is the item good? Is it going to do something that my team needs or that I need to do? Is it going to be otherwise doing that? CDR is, I mean, I just don't care. Then.
It seems like every support item has CDR on it. Like Sightstone's got it. Ardent Sensor, McHale's, every other support item that I can't name because I don't play support anymore.
Knight's
Knight's Vow.
What, Redemption?
Redemption? No, I don't. Does it?
Yeah,
no.
it does. Yep,
Oh,
10%.
it somehow still does. Yeah, everything's got it.
Yeah,
Builds
Well,
out of Forbidden Idol, which has 10%.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Forbidden Items mana CDR. Yeah, I think this might be less of an issue when we get to next season when we remove runes, because I know because I rune on a lot of CDR. I rune a lot of scaling CDR on my champions, sometimes flat depending. And I think if they cut out a lot of that, it might seem a little bit less that you're overcapping.
They're also talking about adding a rune that lets you overcharge, so to speak. It'll convert your excess CDR into some type of stat that is beneficial to you.
I remember seeing that.
I'm kind of scared about next season. I mean, I think we all are, right? But
we say that every season.
I'm always excited.
I'm just the optimistic one. The rest of us are just like the sky's falling, the world's over, the end is nigh.
Look at all this fun stuff.
It's gonna work out. It's gonna work out to be fine. It's all gonna end up working out in the end. It's maybe we'll end up liking it more than we did before. I'm all for changing the rune system. The reason I say any of this, the previous points, is because I was playing a game as Sivir the other day, and I think I ran my Sivir Ash rune page, or no, I ran my just normal rune page where that's 13% attack speed, and I missed having that additional 2.5% attack speed from another page I had, or even 3% attack speed from another page I had, where I have one that goes up to 16% attack speed. I noticed the difference in that 3%, and the items they're talking about for a lot of people only give 12% flat attack speed, for the new Doran starting items, meaning you're not going to be able to get up to that 16, that obviously that 14, 15, 16 mark. So it's going to take a lot of time to get to relearn those mechanics that we've learned over so many years when it comes to early trading and early, auto attacks. And that's why man, I'm dying.
Wow.
I needed a drink in the middle of that. I don't have one. But yeah, you get it. Like I'm looking forward to the items. I think they're going to end up working out better than what we have now for runes. But I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm just kind of scared because I don't want to have to reteach myself those muscle memories.
As someone who at one point had 8 or 9 different Jace pages, I'm a little bit sad that I'm not going to have that specific set depending on lane matchups and what I want to do. It's going to be a little more generalized, which I think for the public is perfectly fine.
Sure.
But we'll see. We still need to see all of the rune changes, and we've seen some teasers and stuff, but nothing that's going to be like what we're going to see it come, what preseason is going to be end of November,
right.
December-ish, something like that.
Yeah, season usually ends on like November 12th, between like 12th and 17th or something.
Depending on what goes on with Worlds and all that, yeah.
Right. But I think we're going to end it there. That's about an hour show overall, and we covered quite a number of topics. So any last words? Nothing. No one's got nothing.
Awesome.
Have fun. Enjoy your games. Don't take it so seriously.
Take it super seriously.
But remember to have a good time and enjoy your Rift experiences.
And I guess to that point, like I'm kind of just duoing with whoever is on these days. Like I mean, people I know pretty well, but like I'm just playing with whoever, and I'm honestly having more fun than I've ever had playing this game. And I'm playing ranked all the time, and like it's honestly just been a blast, and I'm like really enthusiastic about grinding. Whereas in the past, it was just like it felt like a chore.
You know what? Adam had his weekly challenge for this week. I have one of my own. Make a new friend on League. Find a new duo partner.
Good.
Enjoy playing with somebody. Adam, why not? What's the worst that can happen?
What happens?
No? Yeah.
They suck, then remove them, the next game or a day later.
Whenever, exactly.
I like it.
Go make the community better. Because God knows we're fucking toxic.
Guys, that's it. That's the Trinity Force podcast. We are not toxic here. We want you to be nothing but good and loving and great people. Guys, that's episode 460. We will see you all episode 461 on Wednesday. Have a good evening and peace.
Doodles.
Have a good one.